Hello students, in today's video we are going to learn about in detail the Teaching Aptitude crash course, which is basically covering all the important topics of teaching aptitude. So make sure that you are sitting and seeing this video completely in order to get a complete idea about the entire unit of teaching aptitude. So let's start the session. Hello students, welcome to Global Online, and on Global Online we have started preparation classes for your APSET examination, wherein we have brought paper 1 complete course. Now this complete course will be conducted in English as well as in Hindi, and this courses will be conducted daily live at 9 p.m. The speciality about this course is that this course will have full syllabus video lectures, including topic-wise MCQs and full syllabus notes, which can be downloaded in PDF format. At the same time, you have full syllabus mock test and 2000 plus MCQs practice questions, which will help you to crack your examination in a very systematic way. In order to understand how to avail this course and how to access this course, you have to go to Google Play Store, download the app that is called as Global Online app, registered yourself with the registered mobile number. Once you registered yourself, you will be able to see the courses. Now in that you have to click your AP, that is Andhra Pradesh SET Examination. Once you click on that and once you pay the fees, you will be able to access all the details very well, where you have the theory classes, the MCQs preparation and much more, which will help you to crack your examination.
Yes, so a very important news for others as well as to everyone, that is coming soon. We'll be having uploading the topic wise videos for all the units. Like for example, now we know that which are the topics are very important, which topics students need to have a very quick revision. So instead of sitting and going through the lectures, maybe you have done the revision, you just are little bit confused with a small topic. So a 15-20 minutes topic clearance videos will be uploaded on the that is on the channel, which will help you to give you a confidence on that particular topic, and you can move ahead with your preparation. So this is all which is scheduled for you all for coming cycle, that is June 2022. So ensure that you are taking maximum benefit out of all this and you are preparing yourself well for your June 2022 cycle. So all the best for that. If you haven't started, so today is the day you can start with your unit 1 crash course and you can start preparing yourself accordingly. So now let's start the session for the day. So we know that we are going to start with teaching aptitude. So teaching aptitude consists of number of questions in examination, that is the final examination. You have 5 questions based on the topic teaching aptitude, okay, wherein total marks allotted for this 5 question is 10. So each question carries what? Each question carries 2 marks. Now first and very important thing is that you are supposed to understand your syllabus very well. Now why? As in my lectures, I always tell you that I put a emphasis on the syllabus. The reason, I'll tell you what. Mr. Abdul, this is only English class. So for Hindi we have you will be getting class Hindi in Hindi also, but right now this class is only for English, okay? So now I'll give you a small instances to show that why you should be well versed with your syllabus. Now in teaching aptitude, if you come to teaching aptitude, so the first topic itself, the subtopic itself is teaching, where you have the concept of teaching. Now on the basis of concepts also, they are seen that some of the definitions or some of the definitions, out of definitions also they have made question. So it should be very clear that the question should be very well understood in order to understand or crack the question on teaching concept, okay? Objectives. Now level of teaching. So level of teachings, there are evidence where in your final examinations also they have given you questions on level of teaching. 2019 also there was a question saying that which of the following is not a level of teaching. So in your syllabus they have very clearly given memory, understanding and reflective are the only levels which you have as per the syllabus. So there was one option given as differentiation, so that was an odd man out. There is no such level called as differentiation. So it is very important for you to understand your syllabus in detail, okay? Apurva, this topic wise will be uploaded on YouTube channel also, okay? Fine. Now Learners characteristics, when we talk about learners characteristics, now here also students do a very big mistake. In learners characteristics question, they see the characteristics of a learner only from academic point of view, but you know very well that characteristics are not only from academic point of view, they are also from social, emotional and cognitive point of view. So there are questions wherein no their social characteristics are taken out, but students are not thinking from that point of view. So you should remember that whenever you get a characteristics question, it is also from academic, it is also from society point of view, emotion point of view and the cognitive point of view. So that you have to keep in mind very well, because in practice questions, on practice MCQs, when I took such question, students went wrong because they just thought from academic point of view, they ignored the social importance. Then we have individual differences. So individual differences is basically what type of, whether it is hereditary or whether it is on the natural circumstances. So that also we are going to see today. Then we have factors affecting teaching, related to teacher, related to learner, support material, instruction facilities, learning environment and institution. So in this particular topic, no, they are giving some general questions wherein you have to understand the question. The question is very easy, but you need to understand what exactly the question wants you to answer. So here you have to be very clear with the factors and answer the question. Then we have methods of teaching in institution and of higher learning, where we have teacher centered, learner centered. But apart from learner centered and teacher centered, we have content centered also and interactive centered also, that I am going to take today in the class. When we are going, we have a differentiation between offline as well as online. With the help of Swayam Prabha and moves, we are going to see that also today. Then teaching support system with the help of traditional, modern and ICT based, wherein they are combining this question, okay, with the help of communication topic or ICT topic and teaching aptitude. So you get a general question, but you should be able to crack it very well. Then we have types of evaluation. So we are going to see in detail, including the continuous and comprehensive evaluation, formative evaluation, summative evaluation also. We have evaluation in choice-based credit system and computer-based testing and innovations in evaluation system. So this is what your detailed syllabus is. Even if I come up with a small videos, that is topic-wise videos, I'll ensure that the syllabus has been hit to you again and again. So a simple question should not be ignored, because once you know the syllabus, you'll be able to crack it. Is it clear? So this is what the syllabus and the introduction was. Now we are going to start with the slides. So good morning to everyone. Sorry if I have missed some messages. Now, see, we have 90 minutes in hand. Out of 90 minutes, 10 minutes I have utilized. So ideally I have 70 minutes in hand. Okay. I'll be talking about the content, all the contents. It may happen, like for example, I'll try my level best to give a clarity with the given time limit, okay, so that it helps you out in order to go ahead with the unit. But let me tell you one thing, even after the crash course is done, okay, it is your responsibility that you sit and you go through the theory once. I'm not telling you to learn the theory till June 2022. Once your crash course is done, you know what is there in the syllabus. Still, you have to take your individual efforts, commitment and dedication to sit once and on your own to read it, because if you read it on your own, much of the concepts will be cleared. So that is a disclaimer I can say, which I am giving from my end, and this particular class will help you to give you a roadmap and a layout. Is it clear? Yes, Apurva, as I said, for all the units the crash course will come, and it will not come only once. We will again take a next cycle of crash course also, wherein we'll put new things for you, so that we will put all the efforts so that you people can crack your examination for the coming cycle. Is it clear? So let's start. Energize yourself for another 70 minutes. Don't if you are committed, just ensure that you are seeing the video till the end. If you have any doubts, please put it in the chat box. I will come to the chat box, okay? Once you put the doubt, I'll come, because if I'm teaching a topic, I will not break a topic. Some students do not like the distraction, so let me come to the topic, complete it, and then I will come back to the doubts. Mr. Khan, Okay, I'll come to this notes part at the end. Okay, so let's start now. Okay, we have some schedule. Let's follow that. Okay, so comes first is what? Teaching, the concept of teaching. So basically, education is important not only for preservation and transmission of culture. When I say culture, that is a culture which talks about the academic point, which talks about the society, which talks about the as a learner characteristics, when we can say, which talks about your emotions, which talks about your cognitive ability. So the transmission of the culture is reflected from the education, and it also helps to prepare a student for a different vocation, different disciplines. Now, a proper definition of teaching should have what? It should identify whether teaching is a process or a product. So when I tell process, no, it indicates what? It indicates your delivery pattern. Okay, and when I say product, it indicates how you go for that delivery. So like for example, in teaching, both the things are important, both the piece, that is process, so how your delivery is done. Like for example, if I'm utilizing 90 minutes in my class, how I do that delivery, how my process of teaching is, and that is going to understand, or that is going to give a result in effective teaching. So process is important in order to bring teaching effectively, first thing. Now product, it means how to go. Like for example, what are the steps which you are going to follow in your teaching. So we have a slide where we talk about teaching process. So like for example, it indicates your presentation, it indicates your way of delivery, it indicates your evaluation method. So all this is a part and parcel of your teaching. So teaching should identify two things, not only the process but also the product. Okay, it indicates the constitutional factors. We can't let go certain rules and regulations, so that should be a part of teaching. It reveals the objective, that is the purpose of teaching, and it reveals organization and structural aspect. It means that though we have equal importance to teacher, we have equal importance to the student, but at the same time we cannot ignore the imparting body, that is the school, the colleges, the universities, though that also plays an important role in teaching. So teaching is not only about teacher and student. Teaching also considers or take into consideration the environmental factors, wherein your stakeholder comes, wherein your institution, colleges also comes. Okay, now definitions of teaching. Now the reason to bring the definition is, I don't want you to by heart the definitions, but there are some papers wherein they have given the definitions and they have told you to recognize. So just I have seen that these definitions were some or other way, Morrison's definition, Gage's definition, I have seen them repeated in the old cycle, not in new, but at least from the definitions also there are questions. Like for example, I'll take an example over here. So when I talk about the definition given by Morrison, here see the statement, it is a social process, it's a disciplined social process. So yes, in assertion and reasoning questions, it is basically asking about teaching has to be disciplined or not. Mr. Sudhir, I understand, but this particular, I specifically take lectures only in English. Okay, we will come for I'm using very simple English language. Only this is a crash course, I have the schedule, so I may bit faster, but you try to concentrate, at least the words let it go. So in Hindi also you will get, don't worry. Okay. So yes, so in assertion and reasoning question, this type of statements are been asked, so that it is a disciplined social process wherein we ensure that the child learns the education only with the part of discipline. At the same time, where the teacher influences the behavior of less experienced people. It means it is a process wherein the more experienced person teaches the less experienced person. It means that that is the student. Okay, and this is how it helps to develop the ideas and needs of the society. It means to make the future generation ready. As per Smith, it is considered as a tripolar. I just told you tripolar. It means that it talks about the teacher, it talks about the student, and it talks about the environmental factor, which considers what? Which considered your curriculum, we considered your social factors, which considered everything which is not included in other two polars. Okay, so it is a tripolar process. So remember this very well. Then a personal relationship between teacher and taught resulting in behavior modification. Now you have this question many a times. Teaching results into what? Teacher helps the student in modifying. It means modification of behavior. So when we say modification, it is an overall development in the personality of the child. So this also question you have got. So see, from definitions also how the questions can come. Okay, it is a process of cooperative social interaction between the teacher and taught. It means the learner. All organized activities result in the behavior modification. So see, this behavior modification, shaping the personality, bringing the overall development, this is a common factor which you can recognize out of teaching. And according to Green, what a teacher does is for the development of a child. So basically, teaching results into what? Teaching results into the development of a child. Okay, now coming to the nature and characteristics of teaching. So how your teaching has to be. So like for example, if you're teaching a child, what exactly do you you should keep in mind. So as a teacher, your teacher has to be your teaching has to be dynamic. Now when I say dynamic, it means that what is happening outside in the world, you should try to convey the same thing with your teaching modules. Okay, as I said, like for example, every lecture of yours should give some type of new knowledge to the student. So you are bringing what? A dynamic pattern in your teaching, which a student will definitely love, and student will definitely get, every time his knowledge will keep on increasing because you are giving something new. It should be from the society point of view, the teacher should be humane, that is kind hearted, or you can say empathetic. Teachers try to understand the concerns of students also. So it is helps to influence by the human and the social factors. Teaching is an art, that is a skill, and teaching is a science, okay, which brings systematic and includes the talent and creativity. So teacher herself or himself has to bring creativity so that the child learns, the child learns this aspect and take it ahead. It has to be diverse in application. So whenever teacher is applying the strategy, okay, you can say in the form of pedagogy, which we are going to do andragogy or utagogy, we are going to do this concept. So teacher has to be ensure that there is a diverse. It means there is a different ways in order to apply the theoretical concept, and that teacher has to teach a child, and that is how the nature of teaching has to be. So teaching has to be full of action. It is a professional activity with which you can bring discipline or inculcate discipline in child, subjected to analysis and assessment. Now see, analysis, it means where you help the child to understand critical thinking and problem thinking, and you assess the child on the basis of that. It is an interactive process. Now even in this statement questions, they have given you teaching is an interactive process. So yes, it is an interactive process. It is one of the characteristics of teaching. It is a specialized task because you are supposed to deliver certain outcomes. There has to be outcomes. Outcomes, it means result. So your teaching has to be effective with the outcome. And it is a collection of various modes. Nowadays we know where we are using various modes. So yes, you have to understand that in order to make your teaching effective, you have to implement various modes in your teaching. Fine. Any doubt which is there, students can keep on putting in the chat box. Sudhir, I can understand your problem, but as I said, with the help of channel, the crash course in teaching in with reference to Hindi also will come. Okay, so don't worry. Now coming to the aims, the objective of teaching. Now if you can see, I have just highlighted certain words in different color, because these are the forms of question. So when we talk about the objective of teaching, it should change the behavior. It means what? Modification of behavior should be brought with the help of teaching. It should improve the learning skills of student. Now like for example, when we talk about learning skills, means conditional learning. So when we talk about conditioning learning, it should help the students to give some type of reinforcement. Now reinforcement is like a motivation. So when a student does something good, there has to be a positive motivation. When a student does something bad, there has to be a negative impact. So the students identify between in learning skills, that what can be taken ahead and what should be left out. Shaping the behavior, we have already learned this can be done with the help of training. Teacher has to train the student, okay, with the help of what? With the help of certain methodologies. Now, Apurva, science, it means, the system, the logic. If you remember, there is one question in previous year question paper that teacher has to be very systematic and has to organize her content. Like for example, suppose now I'm teaching you teaching aptitude, okay. Now in teaching aptitude we have a syllabus. So I have for today's lecture I have organized my content, or I have organized my PPT in a systematic manner, where I started with the teaching concept, where I started with the characteristics, slowly going ahead with the concept, and at the end I will summarize and give it. So that is called as science. So science, it means which is organized and which is systematic in nature. Okay, then acquisition of knowledge, yes. Teacher has to give instruction. So I'll just clear the ink to help you understand. This can even form the mass the following. So teaching basically helps change of behavior, conditioning helps to improve the skills, training helps to shape the behavior, instructions helps to acquire the knowledge, and indoctrination helps to form the belief. Now what is that? We are going to study ahead also in modes, okay. So when we talk about modes of teaching, it is an extension for your aims, okay, in the form of sentences. Training helps to shape conduct, okay, shape the conduct and various skills. It means shape the behavior. Behavior is nothing but the conduct, okay, and helps to learn various skills. Now when we say instruction and indoctrination, it means that it helps to teach someone to accept certain set of belief without questioning them. Like for example, instructions at the initial level, at a primary level from the teacher comes in, wherein no teacher has to give instructions and students have to follow those instructions without without questioning them, because those instructions are important in order to go ahead. Okay, now I know that there has to be there will be a curiosity, but that curiosity will help in understanding level. At a memory level, it has to be followed as a instruction. Then instructions is concerned, see it's written over here very clearly that basically instruction is for the development and understanding, okay, that the child has to develop and develop his knowledge, understand and keep progressing, keep going ahead. Teaching is aimed towards shaping of a total individual. Now when I say total, it means the entire behavior of an individual, or it coming up as a modification of an learner. And indoctrination is a high level. So it's written, it's a high level of teaching, shaping the beliefs and ideals, so which will help the student in future to understand problem analysis or critical analysis. Fine. Now so when we come about the objectives of teaching, when you generalize everything till now what we did, so basically it is the desired change in the pupil which is expected with the help of education, that is by shaping the behavior and the conduct, acquisition of knowledge, improving the learning skills, formation of the belief system, that is indoctrination, and providing a social and efficient member to the society. It means that we are developing, or we are generating the future of the country, and that is possible just with the help of education. But in that, teacher has to play a very important role by understanding that what is expected as a learning outcome from what a teacher teaches. Okay, so here we complete one particular topic, you can say the content and the concept and the characteristics, including the objective part. Is it clear? So this is how. So here the questions, basically the questions are seen. So when I talk till here, okay, the questions are seen basically how should be the behavior of a student, that is the modification of the behavior, a complete development of a child. Then we can see the statements like, statement questions like it is teaching is an interactive process, teaching is a social process. Okay, teaching is a tripolar process, okay, which includes three aspects, that is teacher, the student and the curriculum in the form of environmental factors. So these are the basic questions in the form of assertion, reasoning, statement or a direct question till here. Okay, now I hope it is clear. Students are listening. If you want, you can even make a note of handy notes so that you can go ahead with your notes. Okay, now coming to the modern concept of teaching. Okay, so when I say modern concept of teaching, wherein where the student have right, you can say, by understanding or getting the doubts clear by questioning by the teacher to the student and student to the teacher. So basically, yes, Apurva, syllabus and curriculum, it's coming. There is a slide in syllabus and curriculum, but still if you want now, so syllabus is a sub part of curriculum. So when we talk about curriculum, which is the entire process which is built for a particular course, okay, maybe like for example, let us take an example. A course is a science course, so for that science course a particular curriculum is fit, which includes co-curricular activities also and the part of curriculum, and then we have different syllabus in that. So we are going to see with the help of differentiation that is coming up in one of the slide. Fine. So when we talk modern concepts, so as per the modern form of teaching, questioning, either the questions by the teacher, so it is two-way process, you can say, okay, by the teacher to the student or student to the teacher. Discussion, which is discussion, if you remember, this is a very common question seen. It is one of the most interactive session wherein the students can clear their doubts, they can express their thoughts, and teacher can direct the discussion. So that it means that it is something which a student can and a teacher can initiate with the help of discussion method, and this is one of the most interactive method. Investigation, whether either the individual or a group, after the teacher presents the information, can investigate, okay, can find out certain things, and can try to develop their own knowledge or try to treasure their own knowledge. And it can also be done by the form of expressions of the thoughts of the student. And expression, it is a form of a particular activity, so this is a little bit part of communication also. I mean to say, when we talk about effective teaching, the way teacher expresses the content in the front of the students, by observing the teacher, the student learn those skills. And that's the reason teacher has to be, as in modern concept of teaching, teacher has to be expressive, and that really helps out the student in to learn the skills of expression, and that can really make the student can have the potential and can definitely do come in the better in the future. Now, so when we talk about all this, so as a basic requirement in teaching, okay, the teaching requires the variables such as I said, the teacher, the student, or the environmental or social factors. That also called, it is also called as what? It is also called as a tripolar process. Professionalism, wherein the discipline comes into consideration. Okay. Yes, you can say, Rajiv, you can say heuristic method is investigation. You can say reflective learning or reflective teaching. It also leads to investigation. Okay. Now, suitable environment, yes, so please remember, like, this can be one of a distraction when the environment of learning is not in a desired manner. So in order to have a desired outcomes, teacher has to ensure that the learning is happening or the teaching is happening in the suitable environment. Teacher-student relationship. Now, there were questions on teacher-student relationship. It has to, I mean to say, the over-friendly relationship, the over-strictness will definitely not work out. Teacher has to be empathic towards the student, so that it helps to understand what a students want to express. But there has to be a limit when it comes to the the relationship. It should not be beyond the limit, and it should not too much strict also, because otherwise the bonding will not happen. Students should be in discipline, so that should be taught by the teacher to the student about discipline with the help of professionalism. And teacher students devotion to teaching and learning, which plays an important role to come out with a desired outcomes or desired result. Okay, now, so when we talk about learners characteristics, okay, now learners characteristics, so what a teacher has to find out in a learner, or what teacher has to ensure that this is happening. So first thing is that readiness. So there were questions on this also. So when we talk about readiness, it indicates what a teacher should encourage the student to come up, and for that encouragement, teacher should motivate a student. Teacher should create a desire of learning in student. There was a question on that also. Teacher should create interest and curiosity to learn within the student. So in order to make a student inclined towards learning and teaching, this particular characteristics has to be found out by the teacher and should help to motivate them in order to come up with readiness. Okay, to motivate them, encourage them, create interest, desire in them, exercise. And that is going to happen with the help of what? Practice. Okay, practicing. Now this practice has to be done on a regular basis by a teacher. So for this, what a teacher can use? Teacher can use various pedagogy, teacher can use various strategies. Like for example, teacher can have a summarized session where the teacher can encourage the student to speak. Teacher can connect the previous knowledge of the students with the present knowledge, and teacher can help the student to speak. So exercising, it means practice or giving the platform to the students to come up with. Then effect. Now when I say effect, that is activities associated with pleasure are referred over those that lead to pain and punishment. It is in the form of reinforcement. So the activities, as I said in the previous slide, that reinforcement, whether it is positive or negative, both should be implemented. So this helps the student to differentiate what can be done and what has to be ignored. This will help them to teach the values, the ethical values. Then attitudes and habits which should be more positive and encouraging towards learning. Absence of anger and jealousy. Now this teacher has to inculcate the sporting spirit. Okay, because this, if a student has this jealousy and anger, okay, this will weaken their learning abilities. So it is like with the help of suppose like if it is a PT teacher, the physical education or physical training teacher. So when a child gets when a child loses in the sports, the teacher has to teach them to take failure sportingly. So that anger, that jealousy, that revenge should be taught or should be converted in the positive way, and that is a responsibility of a teacher. And teacher has to understand this characteristics from the learner and try to put the strategy to make it clear towards the learner. And slow beginning, that is that is followed by gradual development of interest. Now when a child, I mean to say, teacher can't expect a child to be learn. That's the reason they have been put to school, so that teacher helps the child to become perfect. So the beginning, the child may show some slow signs, but teacher, with the help of teaching learning process, has to ensure that there is a development or there is a progress. In this, teacher has to use the formative type of assessment, that is a continuous feedback, and ensuring that the child learns and there is an improvement in learning. So see, this is how the statements can be twisted. Like for example, if the child shows a slow beginning, so what type of assessment a teacher has to implement? So that in such cases it is a formative assessment. Or like for example, if the question comes, a child shows slow beginning and there is no improvement at all in spite of getting the things done. So teacher has to go with diagnostic type of evaluation, where the teacher has to find out the root cause and then try to implement the remedies, or you can also tell that remedial teaching. So please try to understand now. See, when I'm teaching you the concepts, how the concepts can be correlated and how the questions can be formed, that understanding is very, very important. Okay. Now, factors. So what are the factors that can affect teaching? Yes, teacher to student relationship, methods of teaching if not in place, teacher administration relationship, wherein the administration part, if it is not tackled, or if a teacher is dragged in more of administration part, she will not be or he will not be able to concentrate on the lectures, and that will have a reduction in the productivity of teaching. So that is also an important factor. And the social environment. So yes, these all have an impact on what? An impact on teaching, effective teaching. Then yes, so now when I say that teaching process, so when we I just now told you that we are going to do a slide on teaching process. So this particular segment of questions are seen now, they are a little bit active. So I thought we will go ahead with this also. So basically there are 3 phases. Okay, that is the pre-active phase. Okay, the first phase, the interactive phase, that is the second phase, and the post-active phase, that is the third phase. So when we talk about the pre-active phase, that is the first phase, what the pre-active phase helps to, how it operates. So it helps to fix up the goals, okay, that is the objective of your lessons and the content, and decision and the strategy taken in order to teach. So the pre-active phase, okay, we are going to see second slide also. First, try to understand this slide. That pre-active phase talks about fixing of the goals and taking the strategy. Interactive stage, that is the phase 2, It talks about diagnosis. It means understanding the root cause and going ahead with the remedies. That is remedies, it means in sense action and reaction. So what is an action strategy, or action itself is called as a strategy. So what is an action or a strategy taken by the teacher, and what is the reaction, that is what, whether the improvement level is there or not there, that will be identified in interactive phase. When we go to post-active phase, it talks about testing, that is evaluation or assessment, and giving the feedback. So if you see the three phases, okay, pre-active phase, if you summarize, okay, summarize pre-active phase, it refers to planning. Interactive phase, it refers to conduction and management. Okay, managing, now what to manage is that action and reactions of the learner. And post active stage, it talks about follow up, assessment, evaluation, and consolidation. So this can come even in the match the following. You have to be very clear. Pre-active refers to planning. Okay, pre-active, it means obviously the things are not taking place, your planning plays an important role over here. Interactive, it is during, okay, that is the conduction. Execution, you also called it as execution. So remember these keywords. And post active, it talks about follow up. So I have, this one we can summarize with the help of we can summarize with the help of this particular way, that is in the match the following, this particular way also will be helpful. Is it clear? Okay, now coming up with approaches. Now when we talk about teaching as in process, there are certain approaches also. Here also there is the match the following seeing. So there are various approaches, you can say, or you can say call them as philosophies, or in some books they have even used as methods. Okay, so we are going to see this in bit detail with the examples. Okay, if anyone wants, you can just write notes also, or examples also you can take, but concentrate just to understand the concept. So when we talk about various philosophies, idealism, so that is one of the philosophy, that is believing, wherein real knowledge is perceived in the mind, values are absolute, external and changing. So the mind, that is God is the source of all creation, our mind is set like that. So this is more about what creation of knowledge, spirit, and it is actually a spiritualism. So we believe in basically natural, there is no confirmed method over here. Okay, like for example, wait, I'll keep on switching slides for 2 minutes because I want to show you the examples also. So when we talk about idealism, okay, basically just now what I told you, that idealism talks about what, it talks about believing. Okay, but maybe you're not clear with this, so let us take an examples. So they speak of general nature of teaching. Okay, now see this sentence very well. Assertion and reasoning, it can be formed. So you have to be clear here. They do not specify any method to be adopted while learning, because that depends upon the learner. Okay, the belief, okay, what exactly will work out. So your idealistic value use of well prepared and presented lectures work out basically from teacher end. So like for example, various scholars have given the various idealism, like Socrates said that it works out best with question method. Plato said that it works out best with interactive method, that is conversation method. Aristotle said that inductive and deductive method works out best. We are going to learn this also. Hegel said that logical method will be the best one. Pestalozzi said that self-activity method, okay, can work out best. Herbert said that discussion method will help out, whereas Froebel said that the metaphor of kindergarten, that is the best way when you can teach the believing power within the student. So methods of idealism, as I said, they do not specify any method. It is adopted while learning, depending upon the situation or factors. Now going ahead with naturalism, it talks about the senses and nature that are the sources of knowledge. Okay, that is mind is next to nature. So they basically naturalism talks about nature. Okay, pragmatism, that is it talks about practical experience, that is the ability to solve the problems through logic, through activities, through scientific tempers and facts. Constructivism, it talks about generating the knowledge from the experiences. That means you construct certain things, you construct the knowledge only based on your experiences. Humanism, it talks about, self motivation and goals, wherein you require a push factor in the form of motivation, intrinsic goal. Intrinsic, it means your self motivation. Rationalism, the knowledge which is acquired by a reason. And empiricism, that is knowledge which is derived from experiences through senses. Okay, so please try to understand, there are examples where these questions are in the form of match the following. There is no individual sentence yet seen, but in match the following these approaches have been touched. Okay, now as we saw about idealism, let's see about naturalism also. So when we talk about naturalism, it believed, that is Rousseau believed, education lasts throughout the life. Okay, it is lifelong learning, and it's gained with the help of everyday experiences. So he believes that learning should be based on actual experiences and practical problem, and should be studied in natural setting. So here they have method, I mean to say, this recommended by Rousseau may be identified, that is heuristic method, where we can say, problem solving, critical analysis, can be polished or emphasized very well in order to come up with the teaching part. Or it is the experimental method which is advocated by John Dewey. Pragmatic methods, as I said, it talks about activities. Okay, that is, it talks about child must learn how to discover and method of teaching experimental, that is developing a sense of asking question. So there was, if you remember, there was one of the question in previous year question papers, that if the child is, teacher should encourage the child should to ask the question. So that is how teacher is developing the pragmatic method of teaching. And the project method of teaching is wherein a problematic act has to be carried out in order to complete the natural setting. So we can indicate this method so that a child becomes more and more practical, but with the help of what? With the help of experiments. Okay, that is experimental learning. Now existential methods, now these are the methods, okay, they are accepted until the conclusion is reached. Now till the time, I mean to say, it focuses on inductive thinking. Okay, it emphasizes on individual education. Homeschooling is preferred over school education. I mean to say, this is something which is in a unique cases you can tell, or in a special cases which is done. It does not, it does only believe in what? It does not believe in indoctrination, that is ideally follow the belief system. It believes in more child's creativity, and we have such examples wherein existential methods have worked out best for the best people in the various field, not only in the field of in the field of science, the field of mathematics, where the person has learned with the help of existential methods. Then okay, now there is one I mean to say, I was just reading and I came across this. We have various committees. So as per the Secondary School Commission, okay, there are various methods of teaching which are recommended. So this can this can also be a part of question, so you should be little bit careful for this slide. Methods of teaching must provide opportunities for the children to develop clear thinking and expression, that is bringing out a clarity and expressive way of communicating, you can say. Individual centered methods and opportunity for practical application of knowledge must be adapted. So you can say they are emphasizing more on student centered methods. Activity and project method should be used in school practice, that is in order to enhance pragmatic method. Experimental and demonstrative schools must be encouraged. So this is Secondary School Commission is talking about what, or it is favoring more of student centered method, wherein the clear development, clear expression, and practical exposure to the students is more. So that was the one recommendation by the Secondary School of Commission. Yes, now going ahead is variables. Now yes, there is also one question regarding to variables. So based on that, I have just made this slide, that teacher, the student, and the curriculum, this is a tripolar process. We learned this, okay, tripolar. So in that, teacher is an independent variable. So teacher is your independent variable, okay. whose effect we can see on the dependent variable. Okay, dependent variable here who stands as the student. The student has to depend on whom? The teacher. The student stands to be what? Student stands to be the dependent variable. Whereas the mediator, you can say the intervening variable is nothing but a mediator. So who plays a role of mediator over here? Curriculum plays a role of what? The role of mediator. Okay, so mediator role is played by curriculum or other factors, you can say. They will be playing the role of intervening variable. So intervening variable is nothing but you can say that they are mediator in order to connect your independent variable and the dependent variable. Okay, now yes, the next most important part is memories of I mean to say levels of teaching. So wherein you have 3 levels as per your syllabus. You don't have to worry because your syllabus have very clearly specified there are only 3 levels for your syllabus. One is the memory level, another is the understanding level, and the next is the reflective level. Okay, there are questions always seen on this. So first of all, the first question is based on who has brought up the level. So memory level is brought up by Herbert. Understanding level, which is brought up by Morrison. So wherein Morrison are also defined, okay, that with the help of understanding level, the understanding from the more experienced person to the less experienced person, and we have seen this in the definition also. And the reflective level, which is brought up by Hunt. Okay, now when we talk about memory level, it emphasizes or it gives result to what? Rote memorization, which happens at a lower classes. Understanding level, it talks about mastery of the subject by developing an understanding, which happens at middle classes. Okay, and reflective level, whereas the use of knowledge is done, okay, and research skills in order to solve the problems, which happens at an higher classes. So wherein it inculcates the problem solving, or it inculcates critical analysis. So when we talk about the usefulness, so you can say that memory level is thoughtless. They just have to get engaged in the rote memorization. So there is no thought process happening over here. Understanding level is thoughtful compared to memory level, whereas the highest thoughtful level is the reflective level, where they have to come up with a solution for a problem. So even this was seen as one of the question where they have asked in the form of a simple sentence that which level is the most thoughtful, highly thoughtful, most thoughtful. So that is the reflective level, and least is the memory level. Okay, how can you go ahead with the memory level? It is done with the help of written and oral test, okay, including the essay type of questions. Wherein understanding level is a comprehensive essay. Here also one question was given. Okay, understanding level, like for example, then example was given that if you try to tell a student to write a essay, so that is what type of level you are finding out. Okay, now finding out, it means that you're finding out a comprehensive skills. So that happens in what? Understanding level. Reflective level, it talks about bringing creativity in writing the essay type of questions, or using the creative skills. Then we have already learned that what are the which classes or which levels are these levels, particular levels used. Now in memory level, the authority and dominant is more of a teacher, and hence it is teacher centric. Understanding level, it is a permissive role. Okay, so still the main role or the centered is teacher, whereas in reflective level it is a democratic role which is played, and hence it is what? It is a student centered or it is learner centered. So if you see, I'll just clear the ink. If you see there are on each topic, whether it is who has developed, okay, what is then example, which level is the thoughtful level, what are the type through which you can experience this, and which it is oriented towards what. So almost 5 to 6 points we have seen there are questions, and there are questions in your previous year question papers which you can check very well. So this topic is very important, but the only thing is this time they can play with or twist the sentences, so you should be very clear with the concept in order to answer them. Okay, Pushpa, the timing has not changed. I have just, for the crash course, it is a huge time span, so I have taken it in the morning. Okay, now Forms of education, here also you can see one sentence question, that is they have given examples. So it is basically three forms, that is formal, informal and non-formal. So when it comes to formal, it is the schools, colleges and universities. When it comes to informal, it is the society, the friends, the families, who are the first institutions where they teach the children. And when we say non-formal, it is the distance courses which place, which is to be systematically and systematically organized in order to carry the form of education. So there are three forms of education: one is formal, one is informal and non-formal. These also questions are seen with the help of example. So they can give you an example and they can tell you to identify the forms of education. Okay, then you have the next yes, the next concept which you have is individual difference. We have seen, yes, there are statement questions and individual differences. So when we talk about individual differences, it can be carried in the form of, whether it is inherited or acquired. So basically individual differences, it is important for the teacher to understand the variables such as, the physical characteristics of the students, the intelligence level, the perception, the gender, the ability, the style, so that the teacher can implement a right strategy in order to teach the student. So the differences can be either acquired or it can be inherited. So when I say inherited, it can be with the help of physical, mental or temperamental qualities. When I say it is acquired, it can be with the social factors, it can be cultural factors, educational factors or emotions. So like for example, if the child, it doesn't mean that, from the social background, okay, what type of societal background the child comes. It may be the child looks very aggressive, the child is very, notorious. So that is basically, maybe there's this particular thing the child has acquired from his social background. So the teacher has to understand in order to, bring the child on the correct path. So when a teacher deals with a child, teacher has to understand very well that individual differences has to be recognized, and teacher has to work on every child based on these differences, understanding whether they are acquired or they are inherited. Now that is what we have with the help of individual differences. Okay. Yes, Apurva, you were asking, no? So here we have a syllabus and curriculum differentiation. There are questions on statement and selecting the correct answers. That is, the statements are given and you have to select the correct statements. In this we can see the questions of syllabus and curriculum. So as I said, curriculum is an overall content, okay, which is designated for a particular education or for a particular course, and syllabus is the subpart. It is a document that, contains the portion to be covered for a specific subject which comes under curriculum. So when we talk, syllabus is originated from a Greek word, whereas curriculum is originated from a Latin term. Syllabus is set for a specific subject, whereas curriculum is set for an entire course. Okay, so what type of course do you have? Based on that, this curriculum is set. Syllabus is descriptive in nature. Okay, it describes the content of that particular subject, whereas curriculum is prescriptive in nature. Syllabus is narrow, whereas curriculum is wide. Okay, syllabus is set by the exam board, you can say, okay, or is set by the committee, the syllabus committee. Whereas when we talk about curriculum, it is set by the government, by the administration, wherein the administration of the school has only the, rights, okay, rights with respect to what? Rights of, giving an overview. Okay, so the final decision will be taken by the entire committee. The term, it is fixed, it's for a fixed term, normally a year, whereas syllabus lasts till the course is lasting. Uniformity, it varies from teacher to teacher. That is the pattern or the strategy the teacher implements in teaching the syllabus. And curriculum is same for all the teachers. Okay. Now, going ahead, that is the next topic is our various teaching. I mean to say, here methods we have, where we have micro teaching, macro teaching, and inductive and deductive approach. So this next concepts are based on that. So there are questions on micro also. Okay, so micro teaching is basically a procedure in which a student teacher, please understand, student teacher, it means the teacher is in the training phase. So you can also call it as trainee teacher. Sometimes the students get confused over here. You can say that the trainee teacher practices teaching with a reduced number of peoples in a reduced period of time. It is limited to 10 to 12 minutes. Okay. Now, what are the objectives? The objective is to understand or to assimilate the new skills, to ensure that the trainee teacher masters the skills. It helps to gain the confidence for the trainee teacher. It is highly individualized. Here, the micro teaching is an experiment in the field of teaching, or in the field of education, which is put in practice as per the teaching schedule. It is a part of the teaching schedule, and it helps the teacher student, that is a trainee teacher, to understand the skill or a technique, and not a teaching technique or a method, just to not learning teaching, but to understand a specific skill. How it is done, as I said, it is on an average, a teaching happens at 6 minutes. The feedback is given. Based on the feedback, the replanning is done, reteaching is done, or read feedback. So on an average, it is a process of 10 to 12 minutes also. Okay, there are various phases of micro teaching. See, like for example, micro teaching is divided into various phases. Micro teaching, that is first to the knowledge acquisition phase. Okay, then the skills, that is the skills to be acquired by the trainee teacher, and the transfer. So knowledge acquisition, wherein the demo, to observe, to analyze the method which is implemented by the trainee teacher, just to observe the trainee teacher. Then helping the trainee teacher to prepare for a specific skill or for a lesson, and give a feedback. So if the feedback is not correct, the trainee teacher has to go for reteaching. And transfer of skills, that is in the form of actual teaching. Now this transfer phase is basically nothing but it is called as what? Your macro teaching. That is a teaching which is done at a higher level. That is more, you can say, the class teaching which is done, okay, which is done for the entire class, which is normally more than 10 minutes, okay, on an average, which is extended to either 30-35 minutes or even 40 minutes in some cases. So here basically what is the objective? To identify the needs and aspirations of the community. Here it means the student community, okay, to ensure that the curriculum is integrated with a specific structure, to ensure that the integrated curriculum of art, science and human values. It means that a skill of delivering it. Science, it means using it in a systematic way, and human values, it means having inculcating the different values while experimenting the macro teaching, using correct sources and strategies in order to achieve the aims of education, and bringing a specific model of teaching so that there is an improvement. So please remember, we have studied now very well. Improvement is basically nothing but it is called as what? This is a must characteristics of teaching. So there has to be improvement, or you can say there has to be progress. So next is deductive and inductive teaching or approach. So this slide I said is very important, because nowadays there are questions seen on deductive and inductive method in teaching also. So when we say deductive, okay, it means that deducting, okay, it does not give any new knowledge. It is only one of the method of verification, okay, that is in the form of instruction. So child gets ready-made information and uses the information. So here it is one of the quick process. It encourages the child to depend on the sources given by the teacher. It has no scope at all for an activity. It is actually a top-down approach, you can tell, or you can tell a downward process, and it is useful of thoughts and leads to useful results. So basically it is it is the method where the child is given an information, and the child has to ensure that the information which is getting from the source is very clear. So it is just passing or the transfer of information, you can say. Whereas when with the help of information, the child can go for an inductive method, wherein the child applies that information and creates a new knowledge with the help of discovery, which can be with the help of method of teaching. Okay, so where a teacher teaches, okay, and helps the child to apply the knowledge to something in order to discover something new. So here the child acquires first hand knowledge and information by actual observation, by coming it to it, in a realistic situation. Though the process is little bit slow, because lot of thinking, lot of investigation, lot of brainstorming is required when you come up with an inductive method. So it trains the mind, as I said, and gives self confidence and initiative. It is full of activity because actual hands on experience is required over here, and it is an upward process that leads to principle. So if you want to transfer the information to the child in a best possible manner, you can use a deductive method wherein child gets a proper set of information. Whereas if you want a child to come up with something new, become creative, become innovative, you can go with an inductive approach. Okay, so at the lower classes you can try with deductive approach, and for the higher classes you can try with inductive approach. Okay, then we also have remedial teaching. Okay, now remedial teaching basically is to help the students in getting rid of the weaknesses, learning difficulties. You can say learning difficulties also. Yes, deductive. Yes, just a minute. Okay. So deductive basically is from a general to particular or specific. Yes. And from inductive, particular or specific to general. Yes. But I didn't take this rule basically, because in research aptitude they use this word. Here they are not going to, they are going to just focus from teaching point of view. So even if, no doubt you have been clarified the concept, but in research they are using these words. In teaching aptitude they will not use such words. They will come up with an examples, and you have to identify whether it is a deductive method or an inductive method. Fine. Okay. Now, so when we talk about remedial teaching, it is basically what? It is basically talking more about what the weaknesses, or how to overcome the weaknesses, or how to overcome the learning difficulties. So for that, what exactly a remedial teaching strategy will be useful? So it will definitely, with the help of tutorial teaching, with the help of individual tutorial teaching, with the help of supervised tutorial teaching, or instructional tutorial teaching, or informal teaching, wherein you can arrange for a field trips, picnics, art galleries and visits. Now earlier, I can say a decade back, these questions were there wherein they used to give you the examples. Now these examples are not not seen. They are focusing more on diagnostic, that is going to the root cause, finding out the root cause, and then implementing some methods. So that is also called as what your remedial teaching, wherein you find out the cause and you try to take or implement the remedy. So that can be done with the help of tutorials. So they can give you various examples, and they can tell you to pick up which wherein can we follow this remedial teaching strategy. Diagnostic, basically main is diagnostic question comes in, but there is question seen on this topic. Okay, then now now in 2021 cycle, this question was been asked but in a different way, but it came up. Okay, that is Piaget stages of cognitive development. So various stages are given, the age groups are given, and the goals are given. So as I said to everyone, that we are coming up with small topic video. Though I have completed this topic in my theory lecture in detail, but if you exclusively want this in detail, I will come up with a small video for this. Okay, so right now let's understand what are the stages. There are 4 stages, that is the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, the concrete stage, and the formal operation, which goes with the age group, that is sensory motor, that is birth to 24 months, where object permanence. Now what is this object permanence? The child ability to know that objects continue even though the object does not, they do not have they do not see it in front of them. Okay, though they have not seen it for a longer time and heard about it, but still there is an object permanence. That is, the sensory motor talks about what? Object permanence as a goal. When you go to pre-occupational stage, that is from the age group of 2 to 7 years, there is a symbolic thought. Now what is a symbolic thought? That is the ability to think about the objects and events they are not within the immediate environment. So this object permanence gives them the symbolic thought. So it can be the signals, it can be the symbols, it can be the languages. So these are the examples, the symbolic thought, that they are not within their immediate environment, but still that the symbolic effect is left. Okay, that much the memory is sharp. When you talk about concrete operational, that is from the age group of 7 to 11, you have a logical thought. And when you talk about formal operational, that is adolescent to adulthood, you have a scientific reasoning. So basically there can be student who wants to understand what is the difference between logical and scientific. See, that is from the age group of 7 to adulthood. So when I say logical, no, you just want to have a logical without any evidence, a logic. You just seek a logic. What is a logic? You may not support that logic with an evidence. You feel that it can be resulted with the help of your logic. Now what perception you have, what logic you want to put in use, with that you can come up to a conclusion. But when I say scientific, which is implemented in higher studies, scientific, it means you cannot come up to a fact without any evidence. Means even whatever you say, it has to be supported with an evidence. When you talk about scientific reasoning, when you talk about problem analysis, critical analysis, okay, it's fine, you came up with a solution, but it has to be supported with an evidence. That is the difference between concrete and formal operational stage. Okay, coming up next, a very important question. Yes, there are topics on this very well. You can see a lot of topics on this particular question, that is talking about Bloom's taxonomy, levels of thinking. So there are questions like the orders of thinking, which are the higher orders, which are the lower orders, and basically keeping them in order. Okay, so there are various questions seen. So Bloom's taxonomy talks about the levels of thinking, brought up by Benjamin Bloom in 1956, a guide, you can say, in order to create objectives and assessment. So basically Bloom's taxonomy, which was revised in 2001, which talks about remembering, understanding, application, analysis, evaluating, and creating. So under this, we know that that is remembering, understanding, and applying are the lower thinking skills, whereas your analysis, evaluation, and creation are higher order thinking skills. Okay, so remembering helps you to recall, understanding helps you to interpret, applying helps you to use the theoretical concepts or theories in coming up with a new situation. If you are going with an inductive method, bringing something new. Analyzing helps you to examine, evaluate helps you to use the standards, okay, that is certain standards which are mentioned, and come up with your opinions and views. And creation helps you to come up with a solution to the problem. So this is what this skills, I mean to say, the skills are also divided, and the taxonomy is also divided. Many a times this specific slide is given just to give you understanding of key verbs and the examples. So in creation, now this slide, if you want, you can take a screenshot. In theory classes also I have already given the slide in the form of notes, because many a times you can see in the question paper the key verbs comes, okay, the key words in the form of key verbs, and they give you an example wherein you have to match. Like if you talk about remembering, okay, remembering, it means recalling, which it actually happens at the end of the lesson, that is summarization. Okay, understanding, that is wherein describing what has been learned with the help of see, I have used the word as describing, that is the verb which is used for understanding. Applying, that is application of whatever is learned. Analyzing, that is either breaking down, classifying, criticizing in order to differentiate what is what you have learned in your particular class. Evaluating, that is determining, judging, justifying with the help of several examples which are put up in the class. And creation, it means coming up to a new principle. Okay, so this is how you can get the key verbs. So I have listed all the key verbs. Please take some time, okay, and you can come up with this question, because if you read it, you can solve any type of question coming on Bloom's taxonomy with the keywords as well as examples. Now, as I said, the if you want to have it in a one word form, so as I said, remembering, that is recalling, understanding, that is grasping, applying, that is use of information, analyzing, it means identification, evaluating means examining, creating, it means using the information to create something new. So, remembering, understanding, and applying comes to lower order skills of thinking, whereas analyzing, evaluating, and creating comes to higher order thinking skills. So, here also there you can get a question of lower order and higher order. Okay, you have to be careful. Now, coming, as I said, methods of teaching, we know that there are teacher centered and learner centered methods. So this is very simple: teacher centered and learner centered. Where I go, teacher centered comes into conventional form, learner centered into modern. Teacher centered, where teachers are active, learners are passive. There is a less flexibility over here. There are no activities, there is no discussion or interaction, you can say. It is basically one form of communication in the form of lecture or team teaching and PPT. Now, team teaching, it means it is only the flow of information, okay, which is seen over here. Whereas when you talk about learner centered, modern form of learning, you can say, focused on teacher as well as students, wherein it is active learners over here. Flexibility is there. Group activities are encouraged over here. There is multiple flow of channels, either in the form of tutorials, assignment, project work, and case studies. But apart from this, okay, there are other methods also. So we will have a look again in filling the match the following. This was seen. So let's have a quick look over here. So lecture method, which is a very formal method, okay, which presents a series of facts, principles, but it is one way, okay. Discussion method, one of the most interactive method, okay, in order to come up or to reach to a objective. Program instruction, which is a self-directed or self-instruction method, which can improve the class learning by presenting the most difficult subjects into small parts, you can say, so that the students can succeed. Okay, so programmed, it means it is properly planned, structurized. The study assignment method, which the method which instructor assigns, in order to inculcate the habit of reading, exercising, a practice method, you can say more. Then we have a seminar method, wherein the instructor or a tutorial arrangement is involving the instructor in order to present the information to the group. Demonstration method, which is operated under the which is a operation method, wherein the skills are and movement are being taught, which is again one of the most likely method. Buzz method, which is help to develop or to express the ideas, opinions, or stimulate the thinking. Role plays, it explores and improve the techniques, or it helps to consolidate the lessons in one setting. And peer teaching is done just to ensure that the students design and teach other students, okay, which is one of the most likely method, or the complex things becomes easier with the help of peer teaching. Like if you remember the unknown facts, zone of proximal development we have done over here. Certain things which a student do not know can be made it easier with the help of peer teaching. So the zone of proximal development, under that we have seen this question. Okay, now coming, yes, so there can be one of the question wherein they are coming with direct approach, okay, or experimental approach. So I was just reading one book, so I came across this. So direct teaching, you can say, which is a step-by-step, lesson-by-lesson approach, which is scripted and which follows a predetermined skills or sequence. Like for example, the expository strategies in the form of demonstration, or a deductive method, where you are just transforming the information. You're just transforming the information by the help of direct approach or direct teaching. Okay, you are helping them to expose to a specific thing which they are not aware. But when I say experiential approach, it is something which includes a procedure to support certain activities, or engage or motivate the students in learning. So in this approach, a student can come up, or student can learn something new by the help of inductive method, can explore, can reflect, that is problem analysis, construct, can come up with, can build something on the based on own ideas and experiences, problem solving, laboratory inquiry, or metacognition method, where they can use various methods and come up to a solution. So see, depending upon the situation, either the teacher can go with a direct approach where the student is completely new, he has to get an information, so obviously direct approach has to be used. Or if the student there has to be analysis of the skills, enhancing of skills, then there can be experiential approach. Okay, next is your domains. Very important question. That is, as per your syllabus, now there are 3 domains. Cognitive, that is depending upon the intellectual level. Affective, depending upon feelings and emotions. And psychomotor, that is kinesthetic, body movements. So now what is the type of question? Very frequently it has been seen that in the examination they have this particular sequencing, and they tell you to arrange them in proper sequencing. So you have to ensure that this is something which is very factual. You have to learn the sequence which comes under cognitive domain, which comes under affective domain, and which comes under psychomotor domain. But if you want to remember in one go, so domains, that is cognitive domains, is more about thoughts and thinking, that is memorizing and reasoning. Affective domain is more into emotion and feelings, that is appreciation and motivation. Psychomotor domain is more into actions and doing, that is typing, playing, etc. These are the example givens. Individually also we will see, okay, we have done this with the help of Bloom's taxonomy, the first topic, that is your cognitive domain under Bloom's taxonomy. But still here I have given remembering, that is retrieving, understanding, that is determining the information, applying, that is carrying out a procedure, analyzing, that is breaking the information, evaluating, it means making the judgment, and creating, it means coming up with something new. Affective domain, that is receiving, okay, responding, okay, to the knowledge, valuing, that is sharing one's perspective, organizing, putting the things into a proper, as per the viewpoints, and internalizing the values, it means collaborating it with the group members. Okay, now yes, this is a live class, Vasanta. You can put your doubts. As I said, this is only exclusive, all theory I have taken. This is a live class at 11. This is what going on. No, it's already 11 a.m. We have started this at 11 a.m. only. When we come to your psychomotor domain, that is imitating, it means copying or watching someone. Manipulation, you can your actions are performed through certain instructions or memorization. Precision, where you come up with your actions which are more precise, helps you to become perfect with your performance. Articulation, it means performing the several skills in a very harmonious manner. And naturalization, it means coming up with something high level of performance which is achieved with the help of certain actions in a natural way. So that is how, but most of the time, rather than examples are not seen, the sequencing and arranging them, but it can come in the as the following also. Okay, sorry Vasanta, I read your this message by mistakenly in some other way. Do we have daily, not daily 11 a.m. right now? We just, because this lecture was lengthy and at night I thought people will be a little bit tired, so I kept it in the morning to make it more productive. That's all. Okay, now coming to the types of evaluation. So depending upon the types, evaluation can be classified on the functions, on the approaches, and on the interpretation. So when I say function, that is placement and diagnostic. So diagnostic we have learned very well with the help of Remedial also, wherein you find out the root cause. At the same time, you can find out the remedy for or preventive measures also. But placement, please, now here also little bit students get confused. They think that placement is after what the child has completed. No, here the placement is basically with the support of what, in order to pre-assessment or initial assessment, which is conducted to understand the skill of a student with reference to referring him to a specific domain or a course or a skill. Okay, so this is pre-assessment, or you can say pre-evaluation. Okay, approaches, that is in the form of formative and summative, as we very well understand. A lot of questions we have done on this. So formative is something which helps the students to learn and practice, which is throughout the course on a continuous basis. which helps to identify the gap and improve the student, and which helps to approach a student with a specific need, that is improvement. When we say summative, it is done at the end of the course or instructional period, in order to understand the knowledge, skill and proficiency of the student. And it is you can also say it as it's to understand the learning product or the assessment, cumulative assessment. Okay, cumulative assessment, which is done at the end by understanding the entire progress of a student. When we come up to interpretation, that is a norm reference and the criterion. So please, here also students get confused a lot. When we see norm reference, it means you are comparing one student performance again the peer, again the class. Okay, but when we say criterion, you compare the students with a predetermined standard, a scores, okay, or the benchmark. Here there was a question that do you take into consideration the comparison with peer? No, you compare the students with the set standard, the benchmark. Okay, the comparison happens only norm. So some students get confused here very well. So norms, it means rules, okay, which you have set against the peer. But criteria, it means you have set certain criteria or certain standards, and based on that you test or you analyze or you evaluate the students. Okay, Vasanta, it is on daily at 9 p.m. only, but from tomorrow, as I have announced that from tomorrow, Zeba ma'am will start the class because she is going to take Indian logic. So anyone who are not, I know students have another fear for Indian logic, and Indian logic questions are seen. So from tomorrow you can attend her class for Indian logic. She is going to take Indian logic unit from tomorrow. Okay. Now, this is again one of the important concept, that is continuous and comprehensive evaluation, whereas there is the continuity in evaluation in order to come up with the learning outcomes with the help of diagnosis and remedies, which takes into consideration not only formative but also the summative evaluation. Under continuous and comprehensive evaluation, you can see, okay, three parts. That is part A, which talks about formative assessment and summative assessment, which we have already done. Okay, part 2, it talks about co-holistic areas, and part 3 also talks about co-holistic activities. So what is that? Let's see with the help of this slide. So when we talk about co-holistic areas, that is part 2A, part 2B, part 2C and part 2D, which A indicates life skills, that is your thinking skills in the form of self-awareness, problem solving, decision making, critical thinking, creative thinking. Part B talks about work education. It is your social skills, interpersonal skills, effective communication, your understanding level. Part 3 talks about, that is 2C, talks about emotional skills, managing and dealing with the stress. Part 2D talks about the attitude and values with the attitude towards the teachers, towards the peer groups, towards the institution and towards the environment and the value system. Now, when we talk about part 3, that is the co-curricular activities, which is divided into A and B. So A basically talks about the activities in the form of literacy and creative skills, scientific skills, your ICT, that is information and communication technology, and organizational skills. And part 3B talks about health, wherein the indulgence in sports, okay, and NCC and NSS, scouting and guiding, swimming, gymnastic, more about physical aspects. So as such, there are no questions on your part 2 of co-holistic areas under continuous and comprehensive evaluation, but this is an untapped area of the topic, which there can be high chances that they can cover this. So you should be very well aware of this. Okay, then next one you have is the choice based credit system, which is basically an educational model that offers the courses and subject of the choice of the students, dividing into core, elective, okay, which is open or which is skill based. So this is again a convenient way of teaching and learning platform, wherein the students have a choice from various options. So the credit here, it is called as, now in the 2021 cycle there was a very simple question on the full form. So please remember, you know it very well. Sometimes you know it, but during the examination times you go blank. So it is choice based credit system. So credit, it means the methodology, the standard for calculating the theories or the tutorials, which can be transferred. Like many a times, the students, when they enrolled into a particular course, they are interested to know whether it is, transferable or not. So credit transfer, it means you can transfer your credits as per what you can, as per your course. So from one course to another course, if you can go, you can transfer your credits. Now, this is, as I said, it is divided into three areas, that is core areas, which are compulsory subjects which a student has to learn. Elective, wherein the student have a choice to select as per their interest area. And foundation, which helps to build the skill ability, which will help to grab the career opportunities in the long run. And how are the grading points done in CBCS system? That is the letters and the points. So if it is the grade A, if it is grade O, it stands to be outstanding, that is 10 points. If it is A plus, it is excellent. If it is A, that is very good, stands at point A. B plus 7. Many a times in Match the Following you can get this question. B, that is average. Above average, it's 6. C, that is average, which comes to grade 0.5. P indicates pass, it's 4. And absent or fail indicates 0. Okay. I started this class, Revati, at 11 a.m. sharp. Okay. Now, next one you have is computer assisted evaluation and computer based testing. Here also students get confused lot amount of time. Okay. Now, here what is it? Computer assisted evaluation. Assisted, so it means that it indicates or it implies use of online test which is uploaded. As per the link forwarded, or as per the centers, the student can go and appear for the test. So assisted evaluation, wherein it is all computerized system. Your mock test, you say, or the test which is even conducted by NTA, comes under computer assisted evaluation. Whereas computer based, so like for example, normally now we are into the offline mode, wherein the university papers are written by the students, and these papers, with the help of the OMR sheets, can be tested. Okay, that is how the results of even NETs has this for computer based evaluation, where the optical marker reader sheets are being scanned, and based on that they have been assessed and the results are out. So computer assisted evaluation, wherein the tests are conducted, the students have to go and appear the computerized system test, and based evaluation, where the assessment is computerized. So that is two differences, so be careful under this also. Now we have, now this is one of the slide which in syllabus they have not given very correctly, but yes, they have questions on learning disorders. So what are the types of disorders? Like first three are very common, wherein you have got Match the Following questions also on that. The rest I have just found it out, you can learn and keep in mind very well. So dyslexia, that is difficulty with reading, okay, reading, writing, spelling and speaking also, which creates a problem. Dyscalculia, that is with the mathematics, with the numbers, understanding the numbers, okay, it's very, means accounting is very difficult. Dysgraphia, that is talking about writing, okay, the spellings, organizing the ideas, the writing part. Dyspraxia, that is about motor skills, your coordination of hands, balancing, okay, it's very difficult. Dysaphasia, that is difficulty with language, spoken language, comprehension, it's very difficult, and dealing with languages is a tough job. Auditory processing disorder, it is hearing difficulty, it's it is very difficult to differentiate between the languages. Visual processing, that is difficulty in interpreting visual images, like the numbers, you can say the charts, you can say the graphs, the colors also here. Okay, so in learning disorders you get Match the Following and you get the questions many a times, one or two times, simple individual questions also they have given you. So you should like learn reading difficulty, so they have given you the options and you have to select. So this slide you have to be very careful when it comes to learning disorder. Now so now theories of learning, wherein we have pedagogy, andragogy and heutagogy. So pedagogy is teacher led, it is teacher design, it is a receptive mode, okay, which is implemented by the teacher. Andragogy is self directed, which is objective based, which is instructor guided, okay, and heutagogy is self determined, it is problem solving or it is adjusting. So if you see, more of autonomy or freedom is given in heutagogy compared to andragogy and pedagogy. We have a detailed description, let us see Okay, so in pedagogy, the learner is more dependent on teacher. Adults are here independent and learner is completely interdependent. So in heutagogy, the role of teacher is just to, as a spectacular, that's all. Pedagogy, as I said, learner is dependent, so it is teacher driven. It is a combination of adult and teacher controlled, permissive you can say. And heutagogy is completely learner, it is centered. Learner negotiate the path wherein teacher has to just play the role of the guide or a coach. So pedagogy, that is gaining the next level, understanding the next level, is the purpose. Andragogy, that is to increase the performance, make your performance perfect as per your standards. And heutagogy is to ensure that it is something which is completely learner potential, which is unplanned and non-linear, and it goes with the time. Pedagogy is subject centered, this is a problem centered, and it is more of proactive in nature when I talk about heutagogy. Pedagogy, teacher has to push the student, that is external motivation. Andragogy is self-intrinsic and heutagogy is self-efficiency driven. So here you require the self-motivation more as compared to pedagogy. So teaching role, it is like teacher is a designer or imposer or the holder. In andragogy, teacher is just a collaborator, whereas in heutagogy, just a capability builder. That's how the teacher has to play the role when it comes to the teaching theories. Then you have one question, that is blended learning, that is a combination of your face-to-face and online learning, which gives result into your blended learning. In that, there was a question with reference to flipped classroom. So traditional classroom, we know that lecture happens, then the homework activities which are given. But in flipped classroom, we have a lecture and the classroom activities are simultaneously done. So wherein even if you want to show a online concept to a student, you will not tell them to go home and see. You will make the arrangement in the classroom itself, in front of you itself. You will help them to learn the concept. That is in the concept of flipped classroom. Now, yes, as I said, there are two concepts which are not directly given in your syllabus. One is the cone of learning, and another is the Gagne's stages. So we will just quickly have a look here what basically the question comprises of. So it is, the cone of learning is basically what is seen. I mean to say, what amount of teaching learning which is provided by the teacher helps to increase the retention. Okay, that is basically involved over here. So when, as per this particular cone of learning, when reading happens, when hearing happens, when seeing happens, when demonstration happens, when participation happens, and when participation with doing happens. So that is given by Edgar Dale. So there was one of the question that cone of learning is given by whom. So it is given by Edgar Dale, and as per him, when a student is involved into a learning experience, realistic learning experience by doing it, see, 90% of that is into remembrance, where the person just read it or just see it or just hear it. So only, a memory, a small amount of fraction of things remember. That's the reason at the start of the class, this you can implement in your actual life also. Right now you are hearing to me, so 20% of you here is remembered, but the same thing, if you read it out, if you do the things on your own, 90% of what you do is captured in your mind. So this indicates that you have also ensuring that you should practically do the things, learn on your own, and practice on your own in order to make it 90% captured. Okay, so there was two questions, when on whom and how much percentage. Then comes with Swayam. As I said, Swayam Prabha and moves. So Swayam basically e-learning platform, you can tell, brought up by Ministry of Human Resource Development. Okay, designed with a principle, that is accessibility, equity and quality, which was launched on 9th July 2017 by the President late Pranav Mukherjee. It is a 24/7 digital educational channel. It is an initiative of massive open online courses, and it hosts the classes from 9 to post graduation level, wherein you have the main objective is to learning resources which are available, a digital divide. So to ensure that the bridge which is created by digital divide has to be reduced. which has 4 quadrants, that is assessment, e-tutorial, e-content and discussion forum. There was one question on quadrant also. So when we see this quadrants, okay, so let us take example quadrant 1, that is e-tutorial, where the content is available. Quadrant 2, where the that is soft copy of the content, sorry, e-tutorial, it means content is available in the form of video and audio. Quadrant 2, where the content is available in the form of PDF. Quadrant 3, where the sources are available, where you can link your information to the papers, to the articles, to the to the, I mean to say, to the web sources. And content 4 is about self-assessment, wherein you will be given an assignment and you have to, in the form of multiple choice questions or in the form of assignments, and you have to attempt it in order to get it cleared. Okay. The coordinators, now there are 9 coordinators, so you can get this in the match the following. I have given the full form and what they indicate for. AICT, that is, faculty for engineering. NEPTIL, that is engineering faculty, AICT, which gives about a grant, the body. It talks about the authorizing body. NEPTIL, that is for engineering. UGC for post-graduation. Conservatorium for undergraduate. National Council NCRT for school education. NIS again for school education, that is open schooling. In the IGNOU, that is a university again for open university. IIM, that is for management, and NITTR, that is for training, teachers training and research. Coming to Swayam Prabha, that is 34 direct to home channels. Again, it is not 32, it is 34. Now everyone has cleared this doubt very well. It is updated, it is 34, which is available 24/7 with the help of GSAT 15, that is geostationary satellite, which indicates equal access, education, higher education, live classes, curriculum based courses and competitive preparation. It moves when we go for a massive online open platform. Okay, basically it is a web platform which indicates, number of students worldwide can get an opportunity of distance education from the best institutes in the world, which was established in 2008, but it gained popularity from 2012. So in moves, you have seen the full form has been asked till now. NEPTIL is one of the example, wherein which NEPTIL, that is with the help of Indian Institute of IIT Technology and IICSC, has brought the courses, and it requires no registration and it is free of cost. Okay, when it comes to NEPTIL. Offline learning and online learning, because you have this concept of offline and online also. So offline learning, as I said, traditional method, no health issues, physically present, strict rules and guidelines has to be followed, no self-paced learning, requires more time and money, and it is not comparative at all costly. But when you go to online method, it is, yes, the modern version. Yes, it has some impact on health issues, no physical presence is required, no guidelines, you can do it as per your convenience, that is a self-paced. It does not require more money and time compared to offline, you can do it as per your comfortability, but it is a costly method. Okay. Coming to the last part, that is Gagne's condition of learning, 9 stages. So the stages starts with the enhancing of retention, assessing the performance, providing the feedback, okay, eliciting the performance, providing the learner's guidance, presenting the stimulus, recalling, okay, informing the objectives and gaining the attention. So basically the conditions, so learners, Gagne's learning, there are questions seen on this, okay, Gagne's learning. So basically let's understand which each stage, there are 9 stages. So which each stage, what exactly they have, given. So let's take a look of it properly and understand it very, clearly. So when it comes to Gagne's condition of learning, when it comes to your first, step, or basically if you have a doubt that what is the basic outcome of Gagne's learning, so it is basically to organize the learning as per the hierarchy, okay, depending upon the response generation, depending upon the concept formation. So how basically the concept is formed. So first of all, the retention is done, present the learner with sources, in order to retain their knowledge or transfer the knowledge. Then the performance is assessed with the help of the assessments. Feedback is provided in order to understand, what amount of improvement they need. Eliciting the performance, it means presenting the performance to the learners with the help of practical activities or practice activities. Providing the guidance to the learners with the help of examples. Presenting the stimulating, it means to present the learner with the content materials. Stimulating the performance by help of recalling the prior knowledge and ensuring that informing them what are the objectives, and then that's how gaining the attention of the learner to engage them in the teaching learning process. So once there were 9 stages, so this there was a question that which are not a part of the stages, or which are the part of the stages. Okay, so basically this was the last concept of our today's class. So on an average we took almost 100 minutes. Okay, and I know, like as I told you, that this is just to ensure that what is the part of teaching aptitude. Some students who are doing it for the first time maybe want some detailed explanation. So as I said, the channel is coming up with small videos, a very small videos with each and every topic. So in case if you are still not clear with any topic, so from coming, as I said, that very soon we are going to start with small, like for example a video on Swayam Prabha, wherein more detail it will be explained, a video on Bloom's taxonomy. So these all important topics will be covered, which will help you to give a good understanding of the topic and to ensure that you do your MCQs very well.